Hello everybody and welcome to my third Let's Play idea. Now, I mentioned before that I wanted to do at least 3 Let's Plays and then go back on my usual, I don't want to do Let's Play stuff for a while longer. That don't really matter. We'll just do it on normal, fine. I've been on Zelt before, of course. You can go check that out on Hardcore and Guides if you're interested. Links should be in the description for my channel page, my secondary channel. So I sat down, I said screw it, because I keep thinking to myself, like, I've done Dead Space 2 on my channel already, on this channel, and it's like I've never done it before. So this time I'm actually kind of getting 2 stones with 1 bird. Why do I say it like that? I'm getting 2 birds with 1 stone, my god. So basically, for those that aren't aware, if I like a game enough, I typically like to buy it in other potential ways, right? I'm now currently playing on the 360 version of the game. Back in the old days, when Dead Space 2 came out, I bought it on PS3 because I didn't have an Xbox at the time, and, well, I've always been a PlayStation type guy. Oops, sorry, I leave my mic. I do have it on Steam, but recording with OBS takes up so much space that it's not worth doing it there. It would have been probably better, but yeah. And playing on 360 because, well, I haven't beaten this version of it. I know. But hey, you know, these games are usually pretty cheap. So that's why I continue to buy them. It's like, oh, they're like $10. Why the hell not? I see them, I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I liked it. I love Dead Space 2, you know, that kind of thing. So don't judge me too much. Now, there is a problem, though, and I don't know why this is a thing, because I've always played the PS3 version of the game. Hair, it seems kind of it's like it's peaking all the time. I don't know what's going on, and now all of a sudden it's not. Okay, what the hell? So, since we're playing on the 360 version, I tried playing this on the Xbox One. I guess you could say I could have technically played it through Game Pass, which I did at one point, but I just got rid of Game Pass because that's what I do. If I ever get Game Pass, I only ever get it for like 1 month and just play whatever I want and then just be done. It's more efficient and cheaper that way, in my opinion. So, since I have a physical copy of this game has 2 discs. I still am baffled as to why 360 does, but it just does. Because again, I'm used to the PS3 version, which is a single disc only. And I remember back in the day, everybody always talking about how great the 360 was in comparison to the PS3. How it was better hardware, how it was this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not sure if it's possible that maybe the 360 version, I don't know if it's because of maybe like a weaker thing going on with it, that it can't just play on 1 disc, or did they have a stronger game on the 360 version? I don't know what the difference is or why they did that, but somewhere around Chapter 7, I guess, we have to do a disc swap. I don't really play a lot of games that do that, as I'm sure you guys probably note. I don't really do a lot of Let's Plays that require that, because a lot of games nowadays on modern hardware are a little bit easier to kind of just not have to deal with that with. Granted, again, I could just play this on Game Pass and just call it a day and say, well, there you go, I beat the 360 version. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably could have just done that and not have to deal with the fucking disc swapping, but yeah. So, the reason why I'm not playing on the Xbox One, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get to this. The reason why I'm not playing on the One, I know I keep talking about it, I put the disc in, and I have to install the fucking game. I'm like, well, yeah, that's usual, right? And it's like, oh, it's gonna take like 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to wait 30 minutes. I just kind of want to get going. I love Dead Space 2 a lot. It's my favorite of the Dead Spaces. Well, I don't know. Like, admittedly, I think it's a tie. I think 1 and 2 are just both glorious Dead Space games. The absolute epitome of Dead Space quality is absolutely, no doubt about it, Dead Space 1 and 2. If you want a shorter Dead Space experience, this is definitely it. If you want a nice, good content run, I'd say Dead Space 1, especially. But they both have their merits, and hardly any faults, except for Dead Space 1 having that stupid fucking hour-long intro. That, I have to go left, I always forget this. That part sucks. Yes, you can die here, by the way. But anyway, so we're actually playing on 360 because I'm like, I don't want to wait 30 fucking minutes to download a goddamn game that I could just whip out on the older console and just immediately play the fucking thing. Oh, I have to install it. No, I fucking don't. So I'm not going to. Nice try, Microsoft. Nice fucking try. Speaking of installing shit, you guys want to hear my bad opinions? So I was thinking about God of War today, the new ones, Ragnarok. It's like 200 gigs or something now, and I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Ragnarok is okay. You know, I think it's better than 4. I think there's at least a little bit more going on. Objectively speaking, there's variety of stuff. So, in all fairness, Ragnarok did what God of War 4 probably just couldn't do gameplay-wise, but yeah. Every once in a while, I think to myself, like, it would be nice to play it, but it's so fucking big. And it got me thinking, like, god damn, like, if you bought, like, a terabyte hard drive for your console, that's like 2/10 of your goddamn shit just taken up already. And that got me into a whole spiel about, like, you know, Call of Duty doing the same thing, where they kind of force you to have one game on your if you're a console player or whatever, even if you're playing on PC with your normal hard drive, just whatever. It's like they take up so much fucking space to the point where you're kind of forced to only have that one game. And it's like, it got me thinking, like, imagine having only 5 games on a terabyte hard drive, because like all of them are like 200 gigs. It's like, Jesus Christ. Games are big, man. I get it, but a lot of that too kind of stems from just devs just leaving shit in and not, you know, fixing stuff or making things that don't need to be there, or just take them out, I guess. I don't know, but look, I'm not a dev, to be fair, but from what I understand, it seems like a lot of the Western devs tend to just kind of just leave things in the memory, and it gets all kind of fucky. Because, like, when you compare it, again, to, like, the Japanese games, they tend to kind of make their games a lot smaller, even though you would think they would be a lot bigger. For example, like Elden Ring or whatever. Sorry, this part spooks the shit out of me. I don't want to watch this. I gotta get out of here. No, I'm kidding. I will give a fair warning. Not a gore warning. I don't give a shit. You guys know my channel enough. I played Splatterhouse. What do I care? It's not that. If you guys are watching this, you should already know what Dead Space is like. If you're worried about, you know, blood and gore and stuff, that's kind of on you on that point. The game basically already kind of, I think, warns you enough, or at the very least, you should know, because this game's older. It's like a decade old now. But anyway, I will probably end up trying to, I guess you could say, speedrun the game. So, fair warning. Oh, that's right. I always forget there's like something right in the middle of this path here. Yeah. Fair warning, if you want to see story element stuff, or if you want to see me get spooked or something like that along those lines, I'm gonna warn you, this is not really the game that's gonna do that, so fair apologies. But speaking of horror stuff, I've got an interesting story to tell you guys. So I was, hold on, let me readjust myself here. I was dicking around on the Steam, as you do, and a lot of the time games tend to kind of just find me somehow. Like, I get on Steam, and then next thing I know, it's like, here's a game that's recommended for you because you like this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So there was this, we're going to be honest here. I found a porn game, as I do, and the game in question, like, I already saw what it was like before I got into it, but I was curious about what the porn would even be. Spoiler alert, the porn itself is kind of just, it's alright. It's not anything jack-off worthy, but I mean, you can goon to it a little bit, but in my opinion, it's just kind of there. I'll say the game in a second. Okay, I'll just say it now. Anomalous Coffee Machine is what it's called. So for those that are knowing, they're like, oh, okay, I know where you're going with this. So basically, it does show you, I think, on the Steam page what it is. And even then, the tags still kind of tell you what it is regardless. I think, if I remember correctly, I think psychological horror was one of the tags. Either way, horror was a part of that tag some way, somehow. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for that. You know, I want to see like a horror porn game. I don't really get to see that very often, so. Or I haven't found any that I know of, particularly that would give me a scared boner, I guess you could say. So I bought it. It was $10. It was like an immediate buy too. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. All right, cool. $10. It looks neat. And it reminds me of that Magic Shop game from like back in the day. And I'm like, oh yeah, like where you transform your girl and then you could sex the girl. And it's like, oh, that's cool. So I like those types of games. I like my arcadey type of porn games, you know, because I'm weird like that. Hey, I got a few porn games that can be fun, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. I like to have fun too, and having a gallery with it is great. I know talking about porn during Dead Space is kind of weird, but let's be fair. You know, you guys should be used to me by now that I'm just kind of weird already. I need a stick now. I need a stick like yesterday. Found one, but oh, there we go. Poof. I'll talk about the mechanics in just a second. So, Kinesis comes back from Dead Space 1. It works the same way it did back in the day, but actually in this game, it's way easier. It's way more easier to get things to be spiked. Not only because enemies just spike more often, but because there's a lot more stuff like these shiny things here that basically tells you, like, hey, that's an impale tool. You can impale enemies with that. You can grab enemy arms and impale them too. If it's a slasher, slashers are the basic mook enemies you see all the time. So, you get used to that. Anyway, back to the porn. So, I saw a few of the screenshots. I'm like, okay, it looks kind of weird. I'll take that. And then I played it, and I was like, genuinely, funny enough, I was actually kind of, every time I would type, because it's a keyword thing. You type in keywords to make character. I did look up a Google Doc to find, you know, a lot of the words that people found, because there's like 700 of these motherfuckers. I'm not even kidding. That's not a joke. I don't think we even know all the keywords just yet, but I looked up a Google Doc thing I found on Steam and what have you, and they're like, yeah, here's a list of words that have hentai animation stuff to them or whatever. The game also has death scenes too. Like if you type in, I think it was wisdom, her head, the girl's head explodes. And I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. But just like the porn, the gore is not really anything too exciting in my opinion either. Not that it's bad. It's just like it's pretty relatively generic gore. Things you kind of just, I mean, there's some, I guess you could say, slightly obtuse gore, but nothing in my opinion that's like groundbreakingly whoa, you know. The thing that always got me though, and this is the thing, where the fuck is that goddamn spike at? There's supposed to be a pile of them. So, look, it's been a while since I played this game, so I do apologize. I've kind of forgotten just about damn near wherever. Oh wait a minute, I have a fucking plasma cutter. Good going, genius. Did you forget? Yes, I did. Oh yeah, it's not aim and A at the same time to reload anymore. By the way, this guy that's slashing about, he can't hit you. So either just shoot his ass, because it only takes one shot. He does drop stuff. By the way, you have to actually hit enemies to drop stuff. You don't need to aim and reload. You can just you just square to reload or X. So, if you're new to Dead Space 2, this game's way more modern for Dead Space. And oh, by the way, Dead Space Remake is also fucking good too. Regardless of the bugs I had, it's still a high quality remake, in my opinion. I definitely recommend it. Anyway, so the thing that scared me, and this is always something I always wish that games would do, if you're gonna make a horror game, I wish it would be more like, rather than jump scary, I just want something that's more like psychological or just uncanny. And after a while, the stuff does get kind of, I guess it's gonna sound kind of mean, it does get a little bit repetitious, to be fair, with some of the designs. But I'll give you an example. Say, for example, you type in love. She'll transform into, like, her head will transform into, like, this Junji Ito-looking, like, gray filter, like, snow gray TV filtered head design that looks really uncanny. And I like that. You know, that's the horror part of it that I like. And for a little while, at the beginning, I was actually kind of afraid of every word I was typing in. I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to get? There was a couple that actually wore, believe it or not, that actually did kind of gross me out. I have a little bit of context as to why. But one of the ones that actually kind of grossed me out, but not only just grossed me out, but actually kind of pissed me off a little bit. No, it's no NTR stuff, thank God for that I know of. But, you can, alright, so you can type in the word cancer and she'll actually get cancer growths. And then you can type in sex right after, and you can actually have sex with her with cancer. And it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, I've been around the internet long enough. I know that's far from like the worst thing ever. But something about it, I don't know what it is, kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like, I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of a little too far, I guess. I mean, I am the one that did type it in, yeah, but I know, but still, though, I don't know. That one kind of rubs me a little wrong. Not gonna lie. It's still a video game. Like, I don't really care that much. It doesn't hurt me in real life, but yeah. Let's just say it's not one of the ones I particularly like too much. 1 second. So, another one that really grossed me out, I'll give the context as to why. There's a doujin I read like a long time ago. If you guys know what doujinshis are, you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. Dead Space 1, Episode 1, all about porn. Literally, that's all I'm talking about. But back in the day, I found a doujin that was of a girl. I forget what it was called. I'm sure somebody probably knows. They might even comment it, who knows. But it was an old doujin. I think it was on In Hentai I found like a long time ago. Maybe even Faku, I don't know. But, basically, the girl in question was, I think she didn't have eyes, but she had worms, like, crawling out of her, like, maggots and worms crawling out of her eye sockets, and the guy would fuck it, or whatever. I don't remember if he fucked the eye socket, but I remember, like, I'm pretty sure, like, it was porn, I know that much. But the idea in question is, if you type in worm, like, twice, she turns into I guess you could say a necro girl. Not like a zombie, but like a necro girl that's just covered in worm holes and worms and stuff, and you can thigh job that. And then if you type in, I think, human right after, she'll turn into like some worm god thing that sucks you off with like her worm bottom part thingy. And it's like, I mean, I'm not really offended by that one. It's just like, I'm not really into that. You know, I'm just saying, that's not my cup of tea. But yeah, I will admit the worm one actually does kind of gross me out, not gonna lie. And usually, like I said, I'm usually pretty good with, you know, gross stuff, but that's one of those ones where it's like, just the thought of it's like, nah. God, I have like nothing else to talk about, huh? Because all I want to talk about is just porn shit. What a life I live, huh? Well, I can tell you one thing, I had a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to do, Let's Play-wise. And then, like I said, I eventually just decided to do this because, well, I've never done it yet. And why not? Also, make sure that, yeah, make sure you do that again. He will come back. If you guys are interested, there is actually a run that Seraphim17 did like a long time ago. I'm not the biggest Seraphim17 fan. I used to watch him back in the day. He's a hardcore game type guy. And basically he did a thing where he did Kinesis only. So if you're ever interested in that, go check it out. It's kind of interesting. Like, you ever thought about like wanting to see somebody play this game with only using thrown objects? That's one way to do it. Here's a puker. Or spitter, right? Spitter, I think they're called. I should know these names. I've played Dead Space a bit. Ah, you fucking asshole. And by the way, yes, I used to play the multiplayer back in the day. Loved it. I didn't love it enough like I did like with, say, Uncharted 3 or whatever, or, hang on. I'm trying to remember how to play this game. I'll do another one real quick. We'll do that. Okay. I didn't play this as much as I did, like, say, you know, Resistance 3 or Uncharted 3 or whatever, but I did play it enough to where I enjoyed it a little bit. Much like with Gotham City Imposters, that was kind of a fun game. Unfortunately, I think this game is... Like, the servers are down on console, but I think you can still play them on PC. The same thing with Bioshock 2. Loved that. That was a multiplayer I did love. I did like playing that one a lot. But, yeah, you know, decent quality multiplayer. Oh, well, Dead Space 2's multiplayer was... It was decent. It was decent. And yeah, another thing about this game, too, is they like to do a lot of scare stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I played Dead Space a little too late in life to really start thinking it was scary. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that balloon pop right there, like, when I first played, it did kind of catch me. Like, it did startle me. The beginning part of the alarms, you know, that startled me back then. Dead Space 2, in my opinion, is way scarier than Dead Space 1. But that's kind of like with Fear 1, where Fear 1 is way more scary than Fear 2. By a long shot. And, God forbid, Fear 3. If you think Fear 3 is scary, then you're going to have a hard time with any of the other fears, I promise. But there's always this initial idea that I used to have. This is me I'm talking about, not anybody in particular. I used to always think like, oh man, if it's a horror game, it's got to have some scary stuff to it. And I forget what game it was that that ruined it for me. I don't know. Because, like, again, usually scary games back then, I used to be kind of, I guess, slightly afraid to play them because, well, they're scary. I don't know how I forgot he gets up. I should know that. Like, for example, like Slender, we played that back in the day. And it's like, you kind of have this notion in your head, like, yeah, that's definitely going to be a fucking scary game. No doubt about it. Hold on. We have to buy? I thought you get it for free. What the hell happened to that? Oh, yeah, I don't have the DLC for the 360 version, so we're playing base game, basically, so, yeah, apologies in advance, but I do like base game. I played it that way back in the day and bought the DLC eventually, of course, but which I think I got the DLC for Steam. I think it comes with it. But the suits, there are different suits you can get. This is different than Dead Space 1. Dead Space 1, those little armor copper things that you see on my body, basically whenever you upgrade your suit, or buy a level 2 suit, level 3 suit, and so forth, you'll actually eventually gain more like little armor pieces or whatever to kind of show like you're getting, you know, more stuff. And then when you beat the game, you can gain access to that $100,000 suit in New Game Plus that you can play with. That's like full armor or whatever. Also, you get more air at the start too. You get a lot more stuff in this game at the start. And real quick, I don't remember if Dead Space 2, I should know this, but I don't remember if Dead Space 2 has the classic stasis cheat code thing that you can do, or the power. I'll look that up for the next video, most likely. I'll try to. For this fight with the tripod, it's relatively pretty straightforward. Just shoot his ass when he stasis him. If you run out of stasis, go back. Now, don't forget that this shit has to recharge. Take as many pop shots as you possibly can. And unfortunately, he will fall over every once in a while, and it kind of fucks everything up. And that should be it for him. Check around the room, because there is a bunch of stuff, by the way. There's just a lot of stuff. God, I love this game. I do. It is so good. And having my stuff, like, hotkeyed is also awesome. Well, I mean, back in the day, you'd hit square to heal. Oh, yeah, that's right. You gotta... But now you can hit triangle to use stasis or whatever. I'll just drop this, because I kind of want this. We can go back to the shop, but I'm not fucking doing that. Who cares? I got enough health. I'll last. But yeah, now squares to reload. I know I'm going off PlayStation controls here, but that's just what I'm used to. Squares to reload, that kind of thing. The shoulder buttons are flipped, because back then for Dead Space on PS3, it would be L2 to run, kind of like Last of Us does. But for this game, it's LB, so it'd be like L1 for PlayStation. There should be the door. It's not. God, I'm dumb. Yeah, it's been, like, I think a year or so since I played Dead Space 2, so I do apologize for completely forgetting anything and everything. But I do love this fucking game, dear to death. It's awesome, dude. Like, not really, like, I mean, top 10, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to be put in my top 10. Like, I feel like top 10 should be left for, like, the really high up there stuff, like the highest of quality stuff. Like BioShock. Wow, what a great start to that top 10, huh? I'm sure some people are like, oh, that's fucking lame. I don't know, like there's so many games I love, like DMC4. I just got... Remember what I told you guys? If you guys watched my DMC Reboot Let's Play, you're probably familiar with me talking about it, but I played DMC4 again. Literally, went through it again and beat it again. And Just because I can. Just because I fucking can, from start to finish. Base game and all. Also, I love the way they do chapters in this game. It just kind of just starts and goes. You don't have to take a transport anywhere. Yeah, this game does have the power node doors. There's one right outside, too, actually. So we'll go... Actually, before we leave, go to the shop, put in our schematic. No, we don't have a schematic. We have, a semiconductor. Yeah. I could have bought a power... You know what? Fuck, hold on. I'm not a big fan of Javelin. I'll buy a line gun, I guess, just to show it off. Why not? Alright, here we go. This is the line gun. So, basically, it's your shotgun of the game. Plasma cutter's the best weapon. Just, let's be real, it just is. I don't mean to offend anybody with that. Like, if you love another gun, like Pulse Rifle, for example, that's a great gun, too. You know, I don't mean to offend anybody with that, with my personal opinions, but I do unironically think that Plasma Cutter is the best. And I think that's just kind of agreed upon for a lot of people, typically. There's even an achievement for beating the game with Plasma Cutter only for Dead Space 1. I forget if Dead Space 2 has that, though. It's been a while. I've never beaten hardcore mode yet, though. What the fuck? Hold on. Something just... Uh-oh. I was like, what the hell? Like, somebody just called me out of nowhere. Because my phone just... It does that. Like, I'll just be sitting here. One sec. I'm trying to... Alright. Let me leave the room. Yeah, it's this dumb fucking bullshit. Telemarketing crap again. It's fucking annoying. Alright, there's our schematic for it. I think there's everything, right? I mean, I can obviously not pick up that stuff. Because, you know, inventory full. Can't do anything with it. But, at the very least, I have access to these things. Again, I could just easily just run back to the store. And yeah, the good part about usually power node doors in this game, especially, is you'll get your power node sometimes just typically back almost immediately. Okay, I don't know if you can kill those guys or not. I'm not going to waste bullets, just trying. I'd rather just go ahead and continue on with the game and then try to speedrun. Not because I hate the game by any means, but why not? Also, luckily for you guys, if you enjoy cutscenes, well, this game has forced cutscenes. We can't skip them. So, get ready for a lot of just sitting here waiting for things to happen. If we ever get a Dead Space 2 remake, I want to see a thing where it's just like they just allow you to skip cutscene stuff. Like, even shit like this. If you've seen it before... okay. I will say this. If you've seen it before, you should be allowed to skip it. Even in a New Game Plus run. Even in just a new game run. If it's on your hardware that you've seen the cutscene before, you should be able to skip it. Because God of War lets you skip cutscenes only if you've seen it like immediately right after and you die and have to watch another cutscene again. Which, that's great, but it kind of fucks with you too, because it's like, well, I'm in New Game or New Game Plus. Why'd I have to watch the cutscenes again? So I'm pretty sure New Game Plus makes it where you have to watch cutscenes. So fuck you, douche. I might not stasis a lot because I don't want to waste it. And I don't remember if there is a... I'll try it. Not that I know of. I don't think I even got money out of that, did I? I don't know. Spitter in here, so watch out. And of course, just like with classic Dead Space, you want to make sure you shoot off limbs. Now with spitters, just kind of go over it real quick, because we've only seen 2 types. 3, actually. Leapers was another one we just saw a minute ago. So with slashers, cutting out their arm and using kinesis to fire it back will give you, of course, I guess you could argue, a free weapon, so to speak, that you can use to fire back with. For this is delimbing, like what the purpose of delimbing besides just extra damage does. Because this game actually has a bit more stuff going on for it. Because Dead Space 1, you could use slasher arms to impale, but it's kind of hard to, for some reason, to get that to work a lot of the time. This room sucks, by the way, on Zealot. It's terrible on Zealot. It's cool looking because of the visor, but god damn, this room sucks to fight in on hard mode. But yeah, slashers give you the, arm slashies. Leapers, there's no benefit besides, of course, just damage. Leapers, well, you'll see them in a minute. Spitters, though, get this. You shoot off their head, and they just puke acid out of their throat hole. And that's pretty fucking metal. I like that. That's cool as fuck. That's the benefit of shooting off their heads. Normally you don't need to shoot off heads of anybody. Because I don't know what it is about Dead Space in general. I always feel like shooting off heads just does no damage. I know it technically should, but I always felt like it never did. For these ass wipes, I guess you could say for Leapers, you could argue shooting off their tails might be the best choice because they lose out on their weapon that they can use against you. I can't confirm that really because I feel like, I don't know. Stop, because they'll leap toward you anyway. That's what they do. They're leapers. That's what they do. So they're still going to be able to attack you from the, jump toward you and attack you that way. I don't feel like that has all that much benefit to it. Besides just damage. But so far, that's all we've seen. And we'll get to see more enemies later. I'll talk about them when we get to them. And explain what limb makes sense to cut. I mean, cut anything you want, of course. Absolutely, for sure. But there's still a benefit for some guys to do that with. There's a lot of enemies in this game, their body parts are the weapon, right? So, cutting out the weapon stops them from being able to hurt you as much. I always forget that you can see that thing going down, too. Yeah, a lot of sitting here. The usual sitting shit. Oh, it doesn't even... Oh, fuck you. Well, if you want to know if you're going to get there or not, just wait for the dialogue to stop. And then eventually you'll know. Oh, yeah. Cool. There we go. Reload it. I'll try to show off the line gun a bit more. I never use it in anything, to be 100% fair. It's not my cup of tea. Not gonna lie, that actually kind of startled me for a second. I didn't make any noise, I know, but that actually did kind of catch me off guard. And I'm like, oh, fuck, forgot about you. Yeah, I'll be honest. If I get spooked, I'll be honest. I'm not a fucking loser. I'm not gonna try to be like some fucking dude that's like, no, man, this game's not scary at all. Like, in my personal opinion, I don't find, like I said, I don't find Dead Space that scary, but, if you do, you do. I've played it enough to where I don't really get that as much anymore. Fear is kind of the same way, where, if I played it enough, you kind of get used to it. You're like, I know what's coming up. But every once in a while, there's a chance. There's a chance that they can always get me once in a while. By the way, there's a store in this room, so if you are like me and you're kind of fitted... Wait a minute. Wrong room. Never mind. There is no store. Why is up line gun and not fucking plasma? Bothers me. Okay, so for the bomb guys, I think they're just called detonators or exploders. I don't remember. These ass wipes, their weakness is their hands. They have this explosive hand thing, and I know it's kind of obvious, like, oh yeah, it's a big, giant, glowy yellow thing. So clearly I need to shoot that. And yes. Boop. Problem is, if you explode them, it's great because it kills off anybody near them. They do a lot of damage to you, by the way, so be careful of that. But the other problem is, they'll knock shit away that you might want to pick up. I don't have javelin shit. I don't need that. They'll knock items away when they blow up, too, so... I would recommend being careful with knowing where stuff's at. Just in the off chance that you're fighting a couple of those little bastards. Granted, if they're in groups, that's great. If you can also chop out their hand and use their bomb against them, or you can just blow up the bomb straight away. Regardless of which one you decide to do, you know, yeah. But the benefit, obviously, of cutting off the explosive hand is being able to throw it back at something else. So that's the major benefit weapon there. I forgot what these guys are called. They're not regenerators. I forgot their names. Fuck. Well, anyway, these ass wipes. So they basically just cause enemies to come back to life. They're bringers of the dead, I guess you could say. And I forgot that I shot that. Yes, weapons do actually have a secondary fire. The secondary fires are somewhat different from Dead Space 1. Plasma Cutter is about the same. It just has the alt churn fire thing to make precise cutting. 1 second. So basically, alt fire is just this. You can just switch between whether or not you want to aim vertically or horizontally. It's actually extremely useful. However, I never use vertical fire. I just don't. Simple as. I want to say we have to go there. I don't remember. Yeah, there's ammo. Might pick that up. I don't think there's anything outside you can grab, I don't think. But yeah, alt fire, like, it can come in handy for more precision stuff, depending on who you're fighting. So, spoiler alert, brutes, I believe, are back. If I remember, I should know this. I've played Dead Space 2 a lot. You're fighting something that requires, again, a more precise vertical shot. That would come in handy. But, in my opinion, horizontal typically tends to be the best way to do it. I've always felt, because it just seems like the most accurate cut. Like, granted, I could probably vertical shot arms off. Maybe, but for what it's worth, I think I'm better off just doing horizontal. Like, watch. I'll probably end up well, I got one, but I feel like I tend to miss more. Of course, it also depends on, you know, where you're looking and aiming, I guess, but, yeah. Still, though, you have the option. For line gun, though, line gun's basic shot was the wave shot. Its alt fire is, in my opinion, a lot more dangerous. It's a explosive that you can set on the ground. And I don't remember if it takes up... I don't remember if it takes up entire bullets or not. We'll see. Also, unfortunately, yeah, we're going to have to get through this part before we cut the video. 45-minute parts, you know how it goes. Also, Dead Space 2 is way more theatrical, and I fucking love it. You don't need to mash that hard. Just keep tapping I until the game just gives it to you. I'll go ahead and pop one real quick. So RB, when you aim in, and then there you go. As you can tell, it takes a while. I think you can shoot it freehand, like before, to set it off. But I'm kind of a dumbass who doesn't do that. I keep hitting up to switch to plasma. I might change that in the future. I don't think I can change it now. I don't think so. I think you have to go to a store to do that. Maybe. Can you? Yes. Okay. Well, we'll have up on plasma cutter because it makes more sense. Also, just to prove that I'm an old head, I still remember the trailer for this game. And Dead Space 1. I remember, of course, you know, the trailer shot of the hand, which was on the cover, of course. You don't have to do this. I think one of them you kind of have to, but for the most part, you don't have to do that. Look, Last of Us 1. Haha. But anyway, I remember the trailer for this game specifically having Smashing Pumpkins. And it was fucking dope. And I was like, yo, that's sick. I want to get that. I can't wait for Dead Space 2 now. I was excited for Dead Space 2 to come out. God damn. I was excited for a lot of things to come out. Resistance 3. That looked fun. Uncharted 3. Oh, yeah. I got Resistance 3 first before I got Uncharted 3, unfortunately. But not unfortunately. I think it was worth it. Hell, I was excited for fucking Brink. This part's not that hard. I'm just making it fucking difficult. I'm dead serious. It's not that bad. So yeah, brutes. Again, this is where I would argue that vertical shot might be a better option. for more precise shooting. Also, what's funny is this is usually a good part to end off a scene from, because this is the end of the chapter. This is the end of chapter 2, I think. And thank God the ammo and everything that just fell around the screen has not... It went everywhere after that little explosion we had. Oh, I have no health for once. That's a rarity. Yeah, but I'm fucking full of everything else. Can I have that? Can I have that back? Yeah, I kind of want that. Not gonna lie. What the hell am I so fucking full on? Schematics, or not even that. Just fucking semiconductors. God damn. Like, it'd be nice if I can find... Oh, power node here. It'd be nice if I can just find some health first, and then... Like, I'll drop whatever I need to, and then just heal up real quick. And yes, you can do this. You can smash these guys. Smashing pumpkins. That's probably why they picked that band for it. Because here you are, smashing pumpkins. Yeah, I think that should be it. I really hate to end it here, because... I just want to keep going. You know, I love this game. I love it a lot. I'm clearly having more of a blast playing this right now, currently, than I was with Ghost Rider on Game Boy. Not that Ghost Rider on Game Boy was bad. Just for a Let's Play, you know, this one is a lot of fun. And we're like 3 chapters in already, which is insane to think about. Like, god damn, man. That's crazy. We're like a third of the way through the game. Nah, I don't remember exactly. I think it was like 15, 16 chapters, something like that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time for some more Dead Space 2. And of course, as always, take care, everybody.